George Safdie's Marty Supreme is not a film just about the pursuit of greatness. From the perspective of Alfred Adler, the film can be read as a cinematic study of how narcissism appears not as a form of self-love as we often think, but as a defensive strategy against deep feelings of inferiority. What appears as grandiosity or excessive ambition often masks insecurity and the fear of humiliation. In spite of being a wound, this feeling can, however, become a motor for self-creation and growth. Read in this light, Marty Supreme can be understood as a cinematic exploration of narcissism as overcompensation, where performance functions both as a shield against social rejection and as an incentive for excellence. Careful, spoilers ahead. Adler argued that feelings of inferiority are not pathological in themselves, they are universal and inevitable. What matters is how they are transformed. The film presents Marty as a figure who initially experiences himself as diminished within a hostile social world that can be understood within the context of Jewish life in 1950s New York. The film does not reduce Marty to his Jewish identity, but it foregrounds his historical and social situation. His insecurity is not purely individual, it is shaped by exclusion and the persistent sense that he occupies a lower place in the social hierarchy. Adler defends that inferiority is a subjective experience of insufficiency, shaped by comparison, not merely objective deprivation. Marty experiences himself as inferior because the social world continually reflects this status back to him, echoing Adler's insight that inferiority emerges through a lack of recognition. Kletzi's account of a traumatic experience in a camp appears as the expression of a collective memory of humiliation that extends beyond the individual. Narcissistic traits emerge in Marty, therefore, not from confidence but from vulnerability. Adler emphasized that individuals respond to inferiority through compensation, the effort to overcome what others perceive as weakness by striving for recognition. This process is not inherently negative. For Adler, it is a normal and necessary driver of growth. Marty's theatrical gestures, extravagant ambition, and desire to be admired appear as attempts to construct an identity strong enough to withstand rejection. The camera often reinforces this dynamic. Close-ups isolate Marty at moments of humiliation. Cinema here mirrors the psychological movement Adler described. The fragile self builds a compensatory facade of superiority. His pursuit of greatness is therefore both impressive and unsettling, and the film plays with this ambiguity. It shows how compensation can be a powerful motor, reinforced by the film's intensity. Yet it can also appear as a desperate effort to escape a deeper sense of insecurity. The film raises the question of whether his excellence truly overcomes inferiority or merely masks it. Marty's narcissism remains unstable because it depends on recognition from others. This need for validation is amplified by his social status, as he depends on others to fulfill his ambition. Public success produces, therefore, not calm but tension, because the social recognition becomes both a financial and emotional necessity. His need to be seen, applauded, and feared suggests a fragile core. This is particularly evident in his violent reaction to defeat. Loss does not simply threaten his career, it reactivates this original wound of inferiority. Adler argued that narcissistic or superiority behaviors are always at risk of collapse because they are built on avoidance rather than acceptance. The film visualizes this fragility by alternating rhythms of spectacle and breakdown, showing how performance must be constantly maintained. At the same time, Marty Supreme complicates the Adlerian diagnosis. The final movement of the film suggests that Marty's narcissism is not purely pathological, but it might be transitional. His journey to Japan, and especially his victory in front of peers who had long denied his legitimacy, shifts the meaning of his striving. Recognition becomes less about domination and more about belonging. What he seeks is not endless admiration, but confirmation that he has a place. In this sense, the film moves from narcissistic overcompensation toward a more stable sense of self, echoing Adler's affirmation that the struggle with inferiority is not only about success or status, but about the fundamental human desire for recognition and belonging. Ultimately, Marty Supreme portrays narcissism not as vanity, but as a response to humiliation. The cinematic form, oscillating between isolation and spectacle, collapse and triumph, embodies Adler's insight that the desire for greatness often emerges from a sense of inferiority and insecurity. Marty's narcissistic ambition is both an armor and a prison, but it also opens the possibility of transformation. Marty's struggle becomes therefore not simply social, but existential, the search to transform comparison into self-acceptance and competition into genuine belonging.
Thank you for watching this video. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it and subscribe if you want to keep track of other videos. Don't hesitate to leave a comment or to contact me if you want to know more. See you next time!